jobs that were like easy to get and I knew I could get. You know, like easy jobs, like being a
No
waitress.
challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No challenge. And when I would look at jobs and if they wanted me to write a cover page, nope, I would not even apply. So that's how like my feelings of being unworthy would show up. Like I wasn't treating
Hello, everyone. Good day. It's Wednesday instead of Thursday because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So the show has been moved today just for this week. This evening, if you're new here, I'm Sharika Swaby. I'm the Mind Reset Strategist, and this evening we will be talking with Zoey Shannon. She is a money coach. So we will be talking with her this evening about releasing money blocks and ways in which you can do that. So let's just give her a moment. Hey sis, long time. Let's just give her a moment to hop on here. See if I can locate her. Okay, still waiting on Zoe, so nope, she hasn't joined yet. Okay, let's see if I can locate her. Okay, here we go. There she is. All right. Okay, hi Zoe. Here you go.
There we go. Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How
How
are
are you?
you? I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
This is my first time meeting you, so
In
excited.
person, yeah. Virtually.
And it's my first time being live on Instagram. So
Yeah, we all have our first time. My first time was a bit jarring, but it was okay. All right. So, Zoe, tell us a little about yourself.
wow, you already want to know about me. Okay. I'm like, well, where are you? I
Oh,
want to ask
me?
you about yourself. Like, where are you?
I'm in Jamaica.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm in Ohio, and it's like Thanksgiving tomorrow. So holiday. Okay, so let me tell you about myself. I'm in Ohio. I'm from Seattle. I am Zoey Shannon. I'm a transformational money coach. On the flyer you had put money energy coach, and I love the sound of that, and it really is what I do, because your emotions and the way that you think, the way that you feel,
It's all
the
energy.
things that you say, the words that you speak, it's all energy with money. So
Right.
I basically empower women, and yes, some men, around having like this really powerful relationship with money.
Okay.
Because the better you feel and the better you feel and the better you feel about money, the better. Like the more you can actually attract it. So I
Right.
basically help people have like an incredible relationship with money. And ultimately it's really like it's having a really deep, profound understanding of yourself.
That's deep. That's deep. Okay, we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna
Yay!
dive into that a bit, but first, tell us how you got into this. Tell us how did you get into being a money coach and all of that.
Okay. I'm going to actually put my headphones on because I can't hear you super well. I feel like I have to lean in, so I'm going to put my
Okay.
headphones on really quick. It's an interesting story, really. Okay, there. That's better, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, how did I get into this? Well, I grew up in poverty actually, and I was going to school and really struggling with money. I had graduated with my health psychology degree from like a really prestigious private school, and I was working doing therapy with autistic children, and I was still like not making a lot of money. I just struggled. I just struggled a lot with money. And this was back in 2018, and I took actually a personal and professional development course, and I had this kind of like eye-opening experience where I had seen that, okay, something else is possible here for me with money.
Mhm.
Obviously, I wanted more money so I wasn't struggling so much.
Right.
And I always wanted to be a coach. I always knew that I was going to be a coach, even when I went in for my bachelor's degree.
Right.
So then I was like, I want to be a coach and I want to make money. Now, I never ever thought that it would be with money. I never thought that I would be a coach about money. I never did. But that's what it turned out to be. Because, you know, like, if there's other coaches watching and you're a coach, like, when you want to be a coach, you hear people, like, talk about choose something that you've struggled with and then overcame.
Yeah.
And I struggled for 30 years with my finances.
Right.
So, you know, I went through my own breakthroughs. I ended up working for a coaching company and as the finance manager. So, and this was like, you know, a year later after I declared that I was going to do this. Like I was going to make money and I was going to, you know, eventually start my own business. So
Right.
that's like how I got into it. But even then, like working there after about a year, I was like, I still want to go and have my own business and be a coach. So I put in my resignation, and then I was let go. And then because of the pandemic, you know, so many people were let go from their jobs. So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Like, what kind of coach am I going to be? Like, what's going to be my niche? And like all along, it was like right there in front of my face. And I was like, and then one day it just kind of went, and this was like March of 2020. But I had already been like coaching so many people at my job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I worked for a coaching company.
Right, right.
Yeah, and so it was actually, if you've heard of it, it's called Landmark. It's a personal and professional development company. So literally my job was coaching hundreds of people. Hundreds of people like came through there and took courses at this company. So I was already doing this work and helping people with their finances. So it just made so much sense to me and just clicked. And it also goes along with what I even went to school with. So I went to school. I went to school for health psychology. I've always been into studying people's like behavior and why we turned out the way we turned out, you know, because I was so interested in knowing myself and like understanding my own behavior.
Right.
And money is like connected to all of that, like so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So tell us how you transitioned from going up in where you grew up and how you grew up to going to college, no money, and then to a place where money flows in abundantly. How did you get from there to where you are now?
Great question. Quite a few things, which I teach people in my signature course, because it's pretty deep. But here's like basically what I did was, first of all, like, you have to know what you want. A lot of people don't know what they want.
Right.
You have to know what you want. And you have to say it. You have to declare like what you want. You got to tell people, like, you have to write it down. You have to know what you want. Like desire, you know, it always starts with a desire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what shifted for me after I took that course, you know, from the beginning in 2018. Like, I was finally like, you know what? I do want to make money. And I told my mom, I know I can make $60,000 to $80,000 per year.
Right.
That's what I told her. And I believed it. So it's also like, you know, to make more money too, like, you got to know what you want, but you also, there's like, you have to like,
Believe
you have to believe it to a certain extent. Like I tell people, you know, have like your really big goal that you're like, I have no idea how I can possibly make this be true. You know, like, I have no idea. Yeah, you want to have that goal, but then you want to have like incremental goals that take you up higher and higher, because you have to be able to believe it.
Right. You can't just flip from not believing to believing you can be a millionaire tomorrow.
Yeah. So I always tell people, like, well, what's the most you've ever made? And look at that. Like, what's the most you've ever made before?
Mm-hmm.
And go from there. Go a little bit higher than that, like $1,000 or $2,000 more than the most you've ever made, because you know what it feels like to make that amount. So you can just, you know, dream a little bit higher, and you're more likely to believe it in yourself.
Okay.
And then you just kind of incrementally move up. So basically, yeah, that's the first thing, is that you have to know what you want. You have to know what you want. And then a lot of like the things that, okay, here's the next thing. Like, you have to start kind of studying yourself and studying how you got to where you are. So that's where like looking at your past comes in. You know, you want to look at like, what were the conversations that I heard about money? What kind of things were my parents or other people saying to me about money? What is it that I believe about money? What is it that I'm saying to myself around money, about money? So you have to like know and look at, well, how did I get to where I am in the situation that I'm in right now? How did I get here? And then, because you know what you want, and there's like, this is what you want, like, this is your bigger goals, then you kind of just like deal with everything that's in between. So if this is what you want, and this is where you want to go, or sorry, if this is where you are, scratch that. If this is where you are right now, and this is where you want to go, then you kind of just like deal with the stuff in between. And those are the limiting beliefs. They are the like, I don't think I deserve it. I don't think I'm worthy of more money. It's those kinds of things. It's negative emotions about money, or people who have money. So I remember in my very first stages, like, I was reading books. I was doing the exercises in the books. I was, you know, journaling about money in my phone, on paper, journaling, writing, like, what was the story that I believed was true about money?
Right.
That's very important, because mostly our stuff is unconscious to us.
Yeah.
So we have to make the unconscious conscious. We have to bring it all up and kind of examine it and look at it for what it is.
Right. Okay, so what outside? So you journaled about where your money beliefs came from, and what else can be done to bring those beliefs to the forefront?
Well, having a coach helps. I mean, I'm just saying, because there's been times where I've been coached, even as, like recently with my coaches, because I have like several coaches, but where they pick up on something that I'm saying because I'm unconscious to it, but I'm literally saying it. So an outside perspective, let's just say that, like an outside perspective of what you're dealing with also helps. Yeah.
Okay. So earlier you mentioned the money and the relationship that we have to have with money. You said that it goes deep. Tell us a little bit about that kind of depth and how it replicates in our lives on a daily basis.
So you want me to talk about how it runs deep and how it shows up in our daily lives?
Right.
Okay. That's good. That's a really good question. So I'll just take this opportunity like to share some of my own experiences about like how money was related to things that I didn't really think that they were related to, right? So yeah. So let's see what I want to share with you. I think that so I want to share with you about how I didn't grow up with a father, okay? So I grew up like thinking that my father didn't love me. And then when I got older, like I'll leave some of the details out, but when I got older, then I found out that my mom was receiving child support. Do you know what that is? It was like, receiving money to take care of me. And I found out, my mom told me. And so what I kind of made up as like a young 16-year-old was, well, one, I had already made up that my father didn't love me, right? Then when I found out about that, I kind of like entangled all of it and basically was telling myself this story unconsciously that I can't like have love and money. So, and it was really related to like the way I show up in relationships with men. So I believed that it was one or the other, that I couldn't have a relationship with a man and that there would be money. Or it was like I could only have money and not a relationship with a man and have love, which I always had struggled with relationships with men and money. So as you can see, like and this is like because of just an instant, like in an instant, we make up these stories from experiences we've had. So that's why it's so important to look at these experiences. And I met my father when I was 30. And and I didn't realize that I had like entangled those stories together, like about love and money, until after I met him. And I was just like talking to him, and I think I mentioned, the child support and that I didn't think he loved me all those years, and it was just like a light bulb. It was like, oh my gosh. And then when you see it, like you see how it plays out in your everyday life too. So I saw all of it was just like mind blowing, right? Mm-hmm. Mind blowing. And then I'll share one other thing. So when you're going to like make more money, it typically is like you're just moving up to another level at a time, right? So every single time that I've leveled up to a new level of income,
Mm-hmm.
it was me facing whether or not I thought I was worthy. So the very first time that I went from $20,000 a year to $60,000 a year, and literally like in 2 months after I realized this, so I had this realization, and it was with a coach. I was being coached.
Yeah.
So I had this realization, well, through him, he helped me see it, that I didn't think I was worthy. And here's what I did because I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't apply for jobs. Like, I only applied for jobs that were like easy to get and I knew I could get. You know, like easy jobs, like being a
No
waitress.
challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No challenge. And when I would look at jobs and if they wanted me to write a cover page, nope, I would not even apply. So that's how like my feelings of being unworthy would show up. Like I wasn't treating myself like I was worthy of putting in that work that it would take, which ultimately it's not that much work and it's always worth it. But every single time it's been that I uncover another layer like an onion. Like our transformation has layers.
Yeah.
And you think that you deal with it and you're like, okay, I'm done with that. But then
No, I'm
when you
going
go
further.
to your next level, you deal with it in another way because
Mm-hmm.
it's so like humans are so multifaceted and layered.
Yeah.
So I know that means the same thing basically, but yeah, so does that kind of help, like some examples about like how it shows up in your daily
Yeah.
life?
It
Okay,
does.
cool. Yeah, it's fascinating to me. That's why I love talking about this because
Yeah.
it's so individual, but ultimately like love and money are ultimately really connected for everybody. Everybody. I'm pretty sure that's universal. One of my favorite coaches, he says about money, he says, "How much are you willing to be loved?"
Mm.
Something for you to all to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
it's such an exchange of like if we were, you're a coach, I'm a coach, and if I paid you, like I'm paying you because like it's an exchange of like love, and you're like pouring your love into me and I'm like trusting you, and it's like this cycle of energy, and it totally is love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean that when you're coming from like that kind of service, like serving from your heart because you have like this love for humanity, which I do. I absolutely like. I just want everybody to be fulfilled in every single way possible.
Right.
And then you end up like when you come from a place like that of like loving and having passion for life and people and what you do, then you can be divinely compensated. Divinely compensated.
Yeah, but it's funny you said that because that first, in order for you to even get there, you're first gonna have to love yourself to even realize
Oh,
that you're
yes.
capable of that.
Oh, yes. It has been
Yeah,
a self-love journey. Absolutely. It is. It absolutely is.
yeah, that is true. The self-love journey. Well, how many people understand what that actually means, though?
What?
In
A self-love journey?
just the idea of loving yourself in itself. How many people actually understand what that really means in
Yeah.
your coaching business when you're um, speaking with your clients? How many of them actually understand what that means?
I would say that everybody struggles with it. Everybody.
Yeah, at
And
some
it
degree.
yeah, yeah. And it's a relearning of like yeah, it's I was going to say like a relearning of but I don't think that makes sense. Like, it really is just like it is like learning, like, what is it? Like, what is it to you? And what does it like really look like to love yourself?
But
And
it is a
even
relearning. It is a relearning because we already knew how
it
to love
is.
ourselves. We just
You're right.
forgot.
Exactly.
We forgot.
We were, yeah, you're right. Exactly. We're born loving ourselves and knowing our inherent worthiness. We were born that way. Like, we loved like playing with our belly and like looking at our fingers and like, you know, putting our feet in our mouth when we were a baby. Like, that's what we did.
Yeah. It is a relearning process because you did already know how to do it. But in terms of daily practice, right? Self-love, for self-love and for the energy of money, to be receptive, what are some things that people can do to open themselves up to receiving?
Well, first you got to ask for what you want.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just want to say hi to Loopy because she's like my longtime friend.
Okay.
And this is my first time on live on Instagram, so I just have to like say hi to her. She's in Germany.
Okay.
Love you. So it's my mom's best friend. I've known her since I was a baby. So okay. So remind me again what I'm answering. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Okay.
I saw her pop up. I was like, ah!
What are some of the things that people can do to open themselves to receiving, to be receptive?
Yeah. Okay. So like I was talking about at the beginning, which is asking for what you want. Like, you have to ask for what you want. It's so interesting that you ask that because I'm really like learning right now and studying on non-attachment. So kind of like not being clingy to the thing that you're asking for.
Right.
Oh, that's probably the hardest thing.
It is.
The hardest thing.
It actually is. I had a client this morning who brought up the very same thing because last week lesson it had something in it about attachment. And she was having an issue figuring out how to want something but not want it. So it is the hardest thing. It's a foreign concept.
Yeah.
It's a foreign concept. But it takes an immense amount of faith and trust in the divine and in yourself.
That's exactly what I was going to say is faith. And it's so interesting, like, I didn't grow up, you know, in a religion or anything like that. So I really kind of like found my own way when it came to what I was going to believe in. And of course, like, I found yoga and I found like, you know, Buddhism and Hinduism and all these different like spiritual practices, but also like scientific laws, like the law of attraction, you know, the law of assumption, thermodynamics, the law of thermodynamics, you know, physics. So to me, like, that's, I don't know if you know anything about that, but not that I'll go into it, but it really is understanding like the laws of the universe and really just that everything is energy. Everything is. Yeah. So when you put something out into the world, like through what you say or what you write or what you think, as long as you're not in opposition of it, meaning kind of like not having faith, not believing, like as long as you're not in opposition of it, it's gonna happen. Like, like it has to.
There's no way
it's law.
Yeah.
And it's how like the Wright brothers, you know, made the airplane. Everybody knows about the Wright brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like, they just said, I know I can do it. Like, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Right. Definitely. But it's funny with
Sorry, love. I had a phone call come in, so you cut out for a second. But can you say that again?
Oh. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say you said it about having faith, and a lot of people don't realize that um, praying, for example, people pray for things, right? And they pray for the thing, and then they worry about it, not realizing that they're
Yeah,
canceling the prayer when they worry. When
that's right.
really having faith about it is praying about it and trusting that it's going to happen and just leaving it there. Because
Yeah.
really your prayer is your asking, right? Your prayer is your asking. And that's why it's important for people to do mindset work too, because we don't, until we start paying attention, we don't realize the nonsense that is going on unconsciously, right?
Yep, that's right.
It's a bunch of garbage, but we don't realize until we start paying attention. And those underlying beliefs, they affect the level of our faith. They affect how much we're able to
They
believe.
do. They
They
do.
do. Yeah, they do on a massive level. So if you could tell us some things that you would suggest that people do daily to keep themselves in a high vibration, and and two, to keep themselves open to receiving, to keep themselves in the same energy field with money. What would be some of those things that you would suggest?
Mm. Always, always, always feel better. Always do something that's going to make you feel better. Always be like, how can I feel better? Like asking yourself, how can I feel better? And it looks like maybe exercising or sitting and meditating or going for a walk outside, sitting underneath a tree. One of my absolute favorites is dancing and listening to music.
Yeah.
That is seriously one of my absolute favorites. Because, movement like that, you are like generating energy. And so when you add in your thoughts about what you desire, right? And like picturing it in your mind and feeling it in your body, like feeling like imagining it, picturing it, and then feeling what it would feel like when that's happening.
That makes it real.
It makes it real, and that's the law of assumption. Like it has to happen when you do that over and over again.
Yeah, yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, just feel better, feel better, feel better. And I was going to say this earlier about faith, because over the last couple years, like my faith in God has grown so much. And I call it God, I call it source, I call it light, energy, universe, like that's what it is to me. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
But in order to grow your faith, there's a couple things that you have to do, but basically, like when you ask for things and you give gratitude for the things that you have, what happens is things will start to show up. Like, and it can be little things like, oh, I asked for $5 and then suddenly like somebody bought me something worth exactly $5 or something like that. That's just an example, but you start to build your faith in those things happening. You do it little by little, and then your faith will grow and grow and grow in your own ability to ask for something and it actually show up.
Okay.
So I wanted to say that those were the two things, the faith and gratitude. Gratitude really, really feeds all of that.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a very popular topic. People saying, "Oh, be grateful for this and be grateful for that." But isn't there a specific way to be grateful? Because you can just say, "Oh, I'm grateful for this," and then you can say, and then you can say it with deep feeling and appreciation and emotion. Tell us what the difference is from your perspective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you actually have to be grateful for the thing. Like, really, like, think about it. Like, like looking at this cup of water and, like, just really focusing on it and thinking, wow, like, I am really grateful that I have this clean water And, you know, I'm 80% water, so it's a good thing I have this water. Like, and it tastes so good, and it keeps my skin hydrated and my lips, you know, soft and whatever. Like, you really actually do have to like focus on the thing. So I don't always do this. Like, but I have done it where I've done it for like every single day for 30 days, where you write down the things that you're grateful for. Like, write down 10 things, you know,
Right. Mm-hmm.
that you're grateful for. And you just like, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does.
Yeah, you do want to actually feel the thing that you're grateful for. You're right about that.
Mm-hmm. You want to feel it. But I wanted you to say it because I've said it a couple of times. Because I think people hear people say be grateful, and then they just say it, you know.
Yeah.
But
You're
at
right.
surface level, they just say it because that's what they were told, so they just say it. But not realizing that you need to like sit down and take a few minutes to pay attention, to acknowledge what the value of the thing in your life, and to just really pay attention to what's going on there, so
Yeah,
that you
like,
actually get your heart in it, like what you just said.
yeah, like, how does this one thing contribute to my whole life?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, this helps food move through my digestive tract
Yeah, and then you can
so that
digest
I
it.
can detox, so that my
Yeah.
body can detox. Like, there's so many different things that just this one thing I'm so thankful for.
Yeah.
But the thing about being grateful, like what you're saying, is, you know, people just say, oh, yeah, I'm grateful. And then, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. Because they're like focused on the things that they don't have. And I get it because I used to be there. I used to be like, how am I supposed to be grateful when I don't have any money to pay my bills?
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So it really does take some practice.
It does. I remember the first time I did it. And the first time I did it, I really just wrote it down. I didn't really give it a lot of thought, but then a couple of days in, I find that I would sit down and I just look around and I think about something before I write it. I thought about gave it some thought, and even now, that was a couple of years ago. And now when I do it, I sometimes everything that I write about is just about one thing or one area, because then you start to really dig into it. You know, as you said,
Yeah.
start to dig into it. You know, your senses allows you to see and to hear and to chew food. Your mouth allows you to chew food, and your taste buds, and you just, you know, you dive deep into it. So I wanted to bring that up because I think there's some misconception.
Yeah.
Grateful.
And the thing that you and I are pointing to about, you know, focusing on that one thing, and you're kind of going on a rant, or some people call it like a positive rampage, where you're
Yeah.
looking at all the positive aspects of this cup of water.
Mhm.
And gosh, I just forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something about that. I think it might come back.
Okay. Okay. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but what are
No,
some
it's
of
okay.
yeah, that's okay. You can always note it, or we can always come back if you want to. That can be done too. But what are some of the things that you do on a daily basis to fly high?
To fly high. Well, I definitely listen to music and dance.
Okay.
Like, I will feel so silly and I'll giggle while I do it. Like, I'll hype myself up so much. Like, and I've just always loved to dance. So I'll hype myself up. And
Yeah.
then, like, I literally, when I'm like super hyped up, I'll laugh at myself. Like,
Mhm.
laughing is one of the best medicines, really.
Mhm.
But
Someone's
that's
asking.
what I do.
Someone's asking, how do you practice gratitude? I'm not sure if they just joined. So do you want to repeat that, or should I?
Hey, that's Robin. Robin, hi, Robin. Yeah, so, you know, I've been doing it for so long. Like I said, sometimes I will write a list of what I'm grateful for and focus on it that way, which
Mhm.
reminds me of what I was going to say. That's
Ah!
hilarious. the point of what you and I were talking about, is that what you focus on expands. So when you and that's how your faith builds. What you focus on expands. And so when you focus on, wow, I have all this water, like, then more things grow. And when you focus on, this desk and like the fact that I have a laptop and just to kind of go into what Robin's asking about how I practice gratitude, but like I write it down sometimes, but I feel like I'm always getting more and more grateful because of my faith has grown so much that I just talk to God like all the time. I sometimes bring my hands together and I just talk to myself, or I talk to spirit. I talk to, God, and I'm just say thank you. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Especially when I receive things. Every time I have a payment come through for my courses, I say thank you. I say thank you when I buy groceries.
Yeah.
I say thank you all the time. So it's really just natural to me, but
the more you do it, the more it becomes a natural part of you too.
Yeah.
The more you do it, the more, because you can be in the kitchen and every time you reach for something to put in the pot, you say thank you for this.
Absolutely, I love that.
And then the other day, a couple months ago, my mind was acting like a lunatic, right? So I was walking on a field and I started at the back of my house and I started saying thank you, right? And every single piece of furniture, appliance, plate, spoon, fork, everything that I could remember, the bathroom, living room, bedroom, I just started saying thank you for each and every single thing that I could remember.
Yeah.
Now, by the end of that, my mind had completely flipped from its lunacy into positive, and I was feeling great. So, and think about it. If you were to think about the fact that because you have a washing machine, for example, you guys get winter. Because you have a washing machine, your clothes can wash and dry in the winter. You don't have to go outside. You don't have to you save money. If you think about it like that, then it becomes easy.
Yep.
It becomes
absolutely
easy. And if you were going to say something? Oh.
I mean, no, go ahead.
Yeah. And there are many, many ways that you can do it. There are anything. You can be grateful for the wind that's blowing. Stand up.
Oh my goodness. That's what I was going to say. No way. Sharika, are you a little bit psychic?
It's possible.
That's literally what I was going to say. I was like, you can be thankful for the wind blowing.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't make that up. Like, I don't, wow. Okay.
It's possible. But yeah, you're standing out there in the wind and it's blowing on your skin. And if you just get still for a moment and feel that breeze blowing on your skin and the coolness and how it feels like it's a part of you and all of that, gratitude becomes really easy. So, Robin, I hope that answers your question. And if anyone else was wondering, I think that should do you some justice.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay, so any final thing that you want to say before we hop off?
Do you have any final questions for me, or is that all of your questions?
So my final question for you was that was my final question. For someone who is starting from scratch in terms of money and energy and vibration and healing, because we know all of it ties into one, right? Mindset, everything, it ties into ultimate success. For someone who is starting from scratch, what would you recommend to be their first, second, and third step?
Well, you've got to actually name what you want. You have to name what you want. You can't just say, I want more. You have to be specific.
Okay.
Meaning you ask. You ask for what you want. Write it down.
Mhm.
Tell your friend. Tell your family.
Yeah.
Know what you want. Ask for what you want. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And then do the work in between. You got to do the work. So whatever
Absolutely. Right.
whatever it takes, just examine your thoughts and beliefs about money. Okay? So that's the second thing. Just examine what it is that got you to where you are. And then always just I think this will be the third one. Let's see. So ask for what you want, examine your thoughts and beliefs about money, and yeah, do whatever you possibly have to do to love yourself.
Mm. The biggie. That's the biggie, isn't it?
It is important.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, I said that was the last question, but then I have one more.
That's okay.
Yeah, give us 5 affirmations that you use or that you ask your clients to implement in their lives on a daily basis.
Ooh, 5 affirmations. Give me 5 affirmations right on the spot. Okay. No, that's okay. Well, like I am worthy of financial abundance. I am good enough now. I am I am getting better and better at attracting money. I am a really good money manager. Like I manage my money well. I love money. Money loves me. I'm a money magnet. You know, those are the common ones. But yeah, like I'm worthy of financial abundance.
Yeah,
I'm worthy right now because I am.
just because you are.
Just because I am.
I think that's one of my favorite lines. Just because you're worthy, just because you are. You
Yeah.
don't need anything. You're not lacking anything. You just are.
Mhm.
Okay, Zoe, this was a wonderful conversation. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
I
for
think so. Thank
joining
you.
me. Thank you too. You're welcome. And I hope everyone that was watching, thank you so much for joining. I hope that everyone got some value from this conversation. And if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to drop it in the comments, and I'm sure one of us will be happy to answer it for you. Until this is Wednesday, usually the show is Thursday, but because of Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
we
happy
still.
Thanksgiving to everybody in
Oh
the
yes,
United
and
States where you celebrate Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Because I'm in Jamaica, we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving as a holiday, so it's a foreign concept to me. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everyone who is actually celebrating Thanksgiving today. And I'll see you guys next week with another wonderful guest on Conversations with Sharika.
Thanks for
Enjoy
having
the
me,
rest of.
Sharika.
You're welcome, and thank you for coming. Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye everyone.